This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
You're listening to INCRadio.
Broadcasting live from Chicago, Illinois. DZEM 954 AM station. Here to bring you great conversations about faith, people, places, culture, and recent events all around the district. Join us on YouTube at INCRadio.org. Hello, Northern Midwest and the rest of the world. It's time to get this show started.
Yes. It is time to get our show started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of INCRadio Northern Midwest. I am your host for today, Awesome Travel Chris, live here from Rockford, Illinois. And if you've seen our topic, like the title is, parenting in the little moments. If you don't know, if you haven't caught on like what we're going to be talking about, it's about raising toddler, which if you know me, you know that I have zero experience on that. So we've been bringing some experts to join me here today and to kind of, kind of answer the questions and like what it's like to raise a toddler. So I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. So go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello, EJ. Thank you so very much. My name is Brother EJ Short from the locale of Milwaukee, and
well, I'm Katrina, and I'm also from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, born and raised.
thank you for having us on the show, Paul.
Yes, thank you for joining me here today and for answering these questions that we kind of have. Like for me, I guess this isn't like really too relevant, but I do. Maybe this is information that'll be useful in the future for our Kadiwa out there. Just to get us started, like how would you guys describe, what it's like to raise like a toddler? Like maybe things that surprise you about it, things like that.
I'm gonna let you answer that first.
We were going over these questions. Imagine a fire. No, I'm just kidding.
And everywhere you step is a fire, and you're looking for water, and it's like, where's that sound coming from? Where's the what is spilling right now? But I think
it's definitely your world is turned upside down. I mean, everything is just it's chaotic. It's all types of feelings and emotions. It's a big roller coaster, really. But I mean,
I would say it if you asked any parent, I think they would say, right, like there's a lot, they're like a roller coaster, right? Like there are a lot of ups and downs. But we always try to look at the ups of it, and there are a lot of ups with it, but it sometimes it can be, when he takes a cup and then just decides to like spill it like on the floor or on the carpet or on the couch, or I have to bring out my vacuum and vacuum for the 7th time that day. So there are those too.
So in terms of like, let's say like what you expected versus like kind of like when you actually like are raising the toddler, like how far apart are those things?
Very far apart.
So far apart.
Yeah.
I don't think there's like when they say that there's no parenting handbook, there's no rules, there's no, just got to make sure that he's breathing and that he is alive.
It's different for everyone.
It is very different for everybody.
And how they handle, raising a toddler. You think it would get easier, with them having.
I thought it was gonna get easier. Everyone's like, oh, the first year, they're okay. Like, it's like it'll get better. It'll get better. And then as soon as he turned 2, our son, and mind you, I also heard that what boys are a little harder because they're more rambunctious and they are all over the place. And when I tell you, my son just does not want to sit down at 10 p.m. at night. He does not. want to sit down or lay down at 9:30,
Yeah.
10 o'clock
It's kind
anymore.
of like when you wish that, when they're young, we tell each other. I remember it's like a flashback. We were telling each other, "Oh, I can't wait till he starts walking. I cannot wait till he starts talking." And now he's just everywhere, out and about.
Hmm. This is
He's
true.
making noise, he's yelling, and all these things, and you,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, what happened?
Yeah,
It's just like,
he'll babble, and he is having a full on conversation like you are two grown adults who are like going back and forth, and you're just like, yeah, okay, and then what happened? How was your day? And then what happened? Oh, that's what your grandma said? And then what did your uncle say? And they're just babble, and then they just keep going back and forth. So how is life raising a toddler? You're on your toes all the time. We reach our, at least 10,000, not like 12,000, 13,000 steps a day.
Mhm.
Um, but life is good. Through all of that, life is great. Like life is really, honestly, it's so good.
Is there like, I guess, like any advice that you heard from, like maybe from someone before, like like maybe when Erwin was like still like younger, like or before before he was walking, before he was talking, like any advice that you guys got that did prove like very useful once he was like walking and talking.
Well, I know for me, so it was kind of a crazy story. One of my coworkers, she was pregnant at the same time as I was, and she had kids before. And so she was kind of like walking me through, like, okay, so this is what the first year will be like. And then when they're a toddler, I think the best piece of advice she told me was you always have to have snacks. There has to be food in the bag at all times, whether it's, applesauce, cheese balls, bananas. Erwin loves bananas, juice boxes. You have to have snacks at all times, and that, if you look in my bag in my purse right now, I'm sure there's fruit snacks and cheese balls and cheese dust in there right now. So that's what I've taken to heart. I'm not sure if my husband has received any advice.
I mean, of course, just talking on, like parents, it's always like you have to always watch after them. That's like 24/7, it is.
Mhm.
They are usually like, during the day, Katrina and I were at work, and then once we come home, it's like, we are now having to, like, even though we're so tired, we still constantly have to just keep a careful watch on him, just making sure he doesn't hurt himself, making sure that he is fed, make sure that, all of these things, and that, hopefully, trying to act the way that he's supposed to act. And
Right.
but it's more of just keeping a careful watch on him. So that's
Hmm.
something that our parents always told us.
So honestly, did you go, like going to that actually, I want to ask like how do you guys handle kind of like like temper tantrums or things like
Temper
There's a thing called the
tantrums.
terrible twos, and for all of the newlyweds and all of the Kadiwa out there, it's a very real thing. And it didn't start when he turned two. It started when he was 18 months old.
Actually, I think they've
It's
gotten a lot.
increased.
They've increased a lot
He's
more
now
now.
2 years and 4 months
Yeah,
old.
yeah, yeah.
It every month it's something new.
It's
He's learned how
definitely.
to jump, and I'm thankful my house has a sturdy foundation. It's because he's like jumping, screaming, saying just all of the things.
Yeah.
So
Like if he has something like a
yeah,
pen or like
yeah.
all these things that he should not be holding, and he should not
There's
be running around with,
right,
and
right.
we take it away from him.
Hmm.
Of course, he
that?
gets upset, or if we, you know,
He loves right now. He loves pens and
yep.
markers, and as a teacher, I have lots of those things at my house. So he seeks them out and he grabs it, and then when he's quiet, that's when we know, uh-oh, something's wrong. Like, what are you doing? And I think like 4 or 5 spots in our house right now have doodles on the
Oh
wall,
yeah, yeah.
in pen, in permanent marker. Thankfully, some of it's dry erase marker too. Um, and then when you take it away, that's when the tantrum happens, and he'll jump up and down.
Mhm.
And he said he will now he can verbalize like, I want the pen, or give me, give me, give me.
Right.
And
Mhm.
as much as it, for for my husband, I feel like it hurts you more when he has a tantrum
It does.
than me, because
I'm
I'm a
the,
teacher. I deal with tantrums all day, every day.
I'm weak when it comes to that. Like I'm I
I don't
think
think you're weak. I
no,
think you just empathize with him.
right. It's like when I see him crying, it's like I try my very best not to spoil, but it never works out because
Yeah, and
but
then there's two of them having a temper tantrum, and then I'm just like, well, I'm outnumbered,
but
so.
but my wife, she of course is always giving me the look, and she's like, let him figure it out, let him calm down,
Yeah.
let him recollect and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
let him just normalize, those type of things. So of course, when he comes to realize, maybe this is not something that he should be doing, maybe he should not like try to.
Oh boy.
We calm him down and then just.
Oh
Speaking of
boy.
which, he's on his
Speaking
way
of, he's
down.
on his way downstairs. It's like he knew we were talking about him.
I can hear him in the background.
Yeah.
Well, meet our son Erwin.
Yeah.
Everybody. I will.
Oh,
let
is
me
he
let me
there?
grab him.
Okay.
He's there.
So while she
Commercial
does
break. I'm
that,
just kidding. No, go ahead.
so while she does that, there is another one in terms of like your approach and like you're raising your son. Like, how do you handle like when he's being a picky eater? Because I know like for most kids, like there's things that they like. And hello, Erwin. There's things that they like and that they don't like.
I'm not a
Hello,
picky
Erwin.
eater.
A picky
Yeah.
eater.
Yeah.
The only thing he's not fond of, like literally, this kid will eat about almost anything.
Yes.
The only thing that he won't eat is
Any,
anything green.
Oh.
yeah, anything green, we can try to like hide it in his food. Like
Mm.
green beans, green peas, even those the kale infused applesauce. We'll try and like give it to him, but if it's the color green, he will not eat it. And there's only so many times, I think I can count it on one hand, that he's eaten like celery now that he knows what it tastes like. But he is unfortunately, and this is just not our shining moment, but he is a French fry boy through and through.
Uh,
Doesn't matter from where, but he's a French fry boy through and through, and cheese balls.
I mean, I gotta side with Erwin there. Like French fries are kind of like my favorite snacks as well. But yeah, like although there is like something else kind of like in mind that someone brought up, and I think this is more so now with how like easily accessible mobile devices are. But how do you manage like your child's like Erwin's like screen time, or do you just not give him like screen time at all?
It's also not our shining
Yeah,
moment
that's
either.
that's something that we're still trying
We're
to figure
still,
out as well.
yeah, it's hard.
We at least towards the end of the day when it's time to like settle down, we try our very best to tell them, okay, it's time to put away the tablet. Let's go upstairs. Let's
Mhm.
go to sleep. It's time to go to bed.
Or
it
even
is-
or even in the mornings, he'll,
right.
his favorite phrase right now is mouse please,
Mouse.
mouse piece. That's what I wake up to every day. Mouse piece.
This is his way of saying his favorite show, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. So
Mhm.
that's what he would normally say in the morning. But like I said, when he wakes up, we try our very best just to, let's start with eating breakfast and let's see what goes. And then when the time comes, then we can go to go to watching your favorite show, or it's.
And it's the same show. I swear we've
We
watched
probably
it.
watched all seasons, maybe like 52,
It
maybe
has
even more.
It's got to be more
It's
than
got to
that.
be more
He's
than that.
almost three. He's gonna
I
be
think
3
he's
this
gotten to
year.
the point where he's memorized the lines for every single
Yeah,
episode.
that's
So
also what's cute is he's memorized some of the episodes, and so again he's babbling. He's trying to get the words out, but he's babbling and like saying everything that the main characters are saying, and he's singing the songs, and now he knows how to dance, and that's also rewarding. So seeing him interact with the shows in that way, um, that also is like, okay, fine, you can watch for like 5 more minutes. But there were other shows, like more educational shows, that he was watching previously, that helped him learn how to count. So now he's 2 years old. He can count to 30. He knows his ABCs. He can count backwards from 10. So those are also things that you know we try to limit the screen time, but he's learning.
There's
And as a teacher, I
this
love
is in
that.
no way to promote that they should have more
Yeah,
screen time.
no, don't be like us. Don't be like
But
us.
there will be those days where he would actually pick up a book and he will go up to us and like he wants us to read. So there are those
Hmm.
moments. So
Ah.
so I think that's something that we actually like about our son Erwin is that he has those moments where maybe his show is he's done with it and he wants to read a book or something. So
Hmm.
that's something that we like to encourage as well.
Yes.
So hopefully that's something that it will increase through time, and that way he could learn a lot more through books.
Yes, absolutely.
I would say as a previous toddler, not as a kid, I remember wanting to read like the thing that made me want to read books was pictures, books with lots of pictures.
Mhm.
So just get books with lots of pictures. I can guarantee kids will want to look at it. They'll want to
Right.
read it. But um, so I know like with what you've been talking about, and I'm kind of gathering that it can be kind of like difficult as well to raise a toddler. So how do you guys encourage yourselves as well? Like to like while you're raising a toddler.
I would say for me, you kind of think back of how my parents raised me, or the same way
Yeah.
with Katrina, how her parents raised her, and you think back to when we were kids and when we were also in the same position, and growing up and like you remember your parents telling you you're gonna learn one one day,
Right.
and now you think like 20 years later, or something like that down the line, you get married, you have kids, and you just think to yourself, well, my parents were right. It's kind of
Yeah.
like and then you remember the sacrifice, you remember everything that your parents put into it when it comes to taking care of us.
Mhm.
um I think that's something that encourages me, and that's something I reflect on, that it's my prayer and as well my hope that in the same way that we could raise our child to be outgoing, to be
Hmm.
good, with have good social qualities, but as well being faithful to God, and being active in church and those types of
Mhm.
things, those things that just kind of you know lets me really value of and the gift of being a parent, no
Yeah.
matter how hard it can be.
Yeah. I would
Mhm.
that's where I would agree. You we have the privilege of being Irwin's parents, and I'm not sure if everyone knows, but of the second child, the second short child that's on the way. And you just think back on, like, this is what you prayed for. And so you're gonna am I gonna give it back? Absolutely not. So that's kind of why I'm like, okay, well, we've been blessed with this, so how can we take care of it? How can we take care of him? How can we take care of the next child? How do we keep them breathing? You know, all of those are those are the important things. That I'm like, okay, well, we've made it this far.
Mhm.
And then you also look um forward, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till he goes to school. I can't wait till he goes to preschool. He's going to be such a great older brother. And then it's like, okay, well, we've made it this far. What's another, I don't know, 16, 20, 50 years.
Actually, on that, like, has Erwin like reached any like recent milestones that you're really proud of him for like reaching?
Like I said, something that catches surprise to us. Sometimes we'll just be out and about, and he'll be saying hi to
To
everybody,
everybody.
he
Doesn't
sees.
even know if he knows who you are.
I
He will say,
I
hi, hi.
I feel like in this time and age, I feel like that's like something nice to have, is just to be approachable, be kind, to everyone you meet, whether you know them or not. just to say hi, and hopefully
Mhm.
develop. That's just something we caught by surprise, because or um, like he's trying to say something, like have a conversation, but nobody understands what he's saying. But I
Right.
know that's just the start. Honestly, that's just the start of him becoming more sociable and approachable to people, and hopefully that's something that can be beneficial in the future, whether it's when he becomes a big brother,
Mhm.
or when he meets and makes lots of friends in the
Yeah.
future. So that's just one thing that catches me by surprise for sure.
I think the milestone that I've noticed, that I really, again, I'm for those who don't know, I work in a school. I've been a teacher, so watching and seeing, kids who weren't talking to talking, and kids who are now learning to read, it's hard to not compare your your own kid to the kids that you service in school. So, or even to the kids that you interact with, or the parents that you interact with. Don't compare yourself. That's also one piece of advice I would give. Don't compare yourself, because every kid, um, they learn at their own pace. However, let me just tell you about our child. He wasn't really talking at 18 months. And so we were like, oh, well, he's not talking yet. Like, what's going on?
Freaking out, yeah.
And so we just started to worry, like he should be talking, like we should be having full blown conversations. I also have very high expectations of my children, and that's all, that's on me, right? That's something I'm working on. But one thing that Erwin has his language and his speech has just exploded in these past few months, and he went from um doing 1 to 2 word phrases and utterances, and now he's saying like 3 to 4, 5, even 5 word phrase utterances. And so for example, there was one night, I was, again, this is, he's also very food motivated, like we've mentioned. I was eating an ice cream sandwich, and I was just sitting in the chair eating it, and he climbs up into my lap, and he says, "Mommy, share to me. Mommy, share to me." I was like, "That's mommy, share to." That's 4 words. I was like, "You can have it. Take it. You want me to get you another one? Like, here's all the ice cream sandwiches you want in the world." Because usually, typically, a child is like, it depends on their age. So we're expecting him to say those only 2 word phrases. But I was like, that's 4 words. I was like, "You can have as many as you want, honey." So that was one milestone that I have noticed, and that I'm so proud of him for. And now he doesn't stop. And now it's, "Mommy, share to me everything." Whether it's something that's edible or not, it's like, "Mommy, share to me. Mommy, mouthpiece." So that's the milestone that I like to tell everybody, or that I like to share.
Oh, that like makes me like real. So, but I don't know where I at. So, lastly, I just want to ask you guys, like, do you have like kind of like any advice for like maybe new parents or maybe they're newlyweds trying or planning to start like a family?
Enjoy every moment.
Yeah, time is a thief.
Yeah, it does. It
Time
really
is a
is.
thief.
Because I mean, there's every once in a while that I'll look at my iPad and I'll look back at all of the photos that we've taken since our son Erwin has been born, and we're just looking at him now. He's just, it's like he was just born yesterday, but really it just it's crazy of how fast time has flown, and where has all the time has gone, and so and especially with our situation where Monday through Friday, we work, what, 7 to 5 every day,
Hmm.
and so it's kind of like when we come home, we want to go to sleep, but at the same time we want to enjoy and cherish every moment possible with
Hmm.
Erwin. Even if it means like, okay, we'll go on the weekends, or maybe take a week-long trip to Florida or something like that every once in a while, just so that we could spend time with our son Erwin,
Yeah.
and just really take it all in, and because they're all just we're just scared of this, in the future that's not going to happen anymore.
Right.
We're going to want to wish the toddler running around. We're going to
Yeah, we're
want
gonna miss
to
it.
wish the tantrums and stuff like that, and that I just that's my advice. Just take it all in.
Yeah.
Enjoy every single moment with your child. and
Yeah.
and don't take it for granted.
Yeah, I think that mine is very similar, right? For anyone who's a new parent who's in the trenches and you're not sleeping at night, eventually they do sleep at night, right? Like with Erwin, we were really blessed because he started sleeping through the night at, I don't know, like 2 or 3 months old. And when they say don't wake a sleeping baby, don't wake a sleeping baby.
No.
Just they will tell you when they're hungry. But for if you're trying to start your family, or if you are planning, you're getting married soon, or if you are a new parent, like EJ said, um, just cherish that time. If you want to, and this is coming from somebody who we try to go to on a trip, at least like every other month. Now, can we afford it? We try to make it work, but give them those big experiences. Don't think, oh, they're not going to remember it because they're so young. Um, Sometimes the memory isn't for them, it's for you and your significant other. You get to remember how they were when they interacted with Mickey Mouse, or you see how he interacted with his grandparents. So like one of those is we saw EJ's parents last weekend, and if you saw us on the phone with them all the time, it like Erwin will just like go back to his tablet or will do something else, and it's very hard for him to say hi to his grandparents. But he ran to his grandpa on Saturday, and that was really nice to see, right? So the advice is, keep your family close and ensure that you want to give them all of those experiences. You want to be able to give them everything you want. And then at the end of the day, when your kid is asleep, remember that it's not just you have a partner um who's there to help you every single way, every step of the way. And sometimes I forget that because I can get in my feelings really fast. So remember that you have a spouse, and utilize them and lean on them, and they will lean on you too. And just remember that you're in it together.
And of course, not just together, of course, right? And the one also great advice that we could always give is always pray. Always have a
Yeah.
household. That's something that we're also trying to train our son Erwin. We are getting him to it. It's nice to see that he'll come in when we end the prayer, and he'll say Amen.
Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
it's
Or when
very
he's in, you can hear him
it
answer.
it yeah, we could hear him answering and stuff like that. So it's those prayer is everything,
Mhm.
because even though it's up and down, that just everything, it just happens right in front of you. It With God's guidance, of course, you'll be able to be properly navigated, and ensure that everything's going to be great for the family,
It will all be
and
okay.
it will all be okay because of God's help.
Yes.
Thank you so much for what you shared, with me today. I've just had all smiles this entire time. But that's like the viewers might not see me, but yeah, I was all smiles this entire conversation, because like you really, there's a lot of like really good things said, and I know a lot of things were shared in our live chat as well. But we are right now short of that, so we will be kind of going through like the different segments that we have for our show. Which one? The first one is, of course, our "This is your sign," and for you parents out there, this is how you can introduce your child in sign language.
This is your song.
Hello, brothers and sisters. My name is Sister Sophia, and I am the Secretary for the Christian Society for the Deaf here in the District of Great Lakes. And for today's Sign of the Week, I'm going to teach you how to sign the phrase, "This is my child." Now, to start off, the way we sign the word "this," you will have your non-dominant hand flat out just like this. And with your dominant hand, you're going to just have your index finger sticking up, and then you point at your palm. That's how you sign this. Next, to sign the word "my," all you have to do is simply point at yourself. So, my. And now to sign the word "child," you will need both of your hands for this, and they will both be facing down. And then you'll basically do a patting motion, as if you're patting the heads of young children. And that's how you sign "child." Now, we're going to put that together. This is my child. Thank you for joining us in today's Sign of the Week, and we hope to see you more in future activities.
This is your sign.
Yes, thank you to our CSD department for showing us how to sign This Is My Child. And now let's go to the different activities we had throughout the week, and of course, some upcoming activities that we will be having as well. Let's see. In our CFO in action. Okay, first off, in the recent activities, the local congregation of Chesterton had their physical fitness activity. So let's see them exercising. And then the local congregation of Louisville had a first aid seminar teaching them the basics of like first aid. And in the district, we had our SCAN and CSD seminars, the sign language, for days and months. And for the SCAN, they had a fire safety seminar. And for the district school, we also had Art Tagisan and Talina. I believe these two local congregations are Cincinnati and Park Ridge. And so that's as for upcoming activities and ongoing, I should say, is our Tagisan ng Talina as well. It's still continuing here in April, and of course, the district level competition will be in June. Here are the schedules up on the screen. And then in April 26th, so right after this activity, we have our INCradio Coastal Cleanup activity. That will be in Indiana Dunes National Park. And we also have our Indiana Powerlifting Edition and Sports Clinic. That will be on April 27 at 4 p.m. Central Time in the Catalyst Strength Gym. Yeah, so those are our upcoming activities, and of course the different activities we've had in our district. And I know one of our new segments is our comment challenge. So let's quickly go through the different creative hashtags from our previous episodes, which is about digital independence. Here are some of the creative hashtags that we've had on the show. I'm smiling at all of them. And then we also had our Great Minds Think Alike, where they shared a similar topic on being distracted by their phones. And then we also have some very great ideas, like benefits of the digital devices, which is like tornado warrants and stuff like that. And then some funny comments from Cassie Jason. How do I pronounce or spell this word? Yes, I've asked my phone that a lot of times. And of course, we want to congratulate these local congregations for being active in our show last week. And we'll see if you're going to be on this list for our next week. And lastly, I know, we do want to congratulate the local congregations of Louisville and Indianapolis for celebrating their anniversary this month. And we do want to say our special thanks to our district ministers here in Great Lakes, Brother Arthur P. Agag, our assistant district minister, and Brother Elmer A. Sarmiento, our district minister. And a very special thanks to Brother Wally Taray, our INCradio station manager, to Brother Angelo Elanio Manalo, our CEBSI president and CFO coordinator, and most especially to Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, our executive ministers. Thank you for making our show possible. And we'll see all of you again next week. We do hope you've enjoyed this show. And don't forget to be phenomenal. We'll see you again next week. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend.